Hi guys, welcome back to the channel for another video. A new video, but certainly not an unfamiliar topic. We have definitely covered the depressing subject of celebrity diets before, and today we're talking about Adele's weight loss, how it's been discussed, how it's been covered in the media, specific information which has been released by her trainer, and I guess anyone who's been around here will kind of be able to guess what my thoughts and feelings are. But let's just see where it goes anyway. Bit of a disclaimer before I get started. If you are somebody who really should not be listening to specific calorie information, particularly calorie information pertaining to quite a restrictive diet, please don't feel the need to watch this video, particularly if you are in a vulnerable part of your eating disorder recovery. Come back and watch it when you're in a bit of a stronger place. I do think it's important to talk specifically about this information when we're talking about diet culture, when we're talking about the normalization of very restrictive diets. So I will be talking about specific calorie counts and quite low calorie counts. This is your warning. So over the last 12 months or so, there's been increasing media coverage of Adele and her changing appearance and weight. I think the first time I saw it covered was when a photo came out from Drake's birthday on Instagram. And there was a noticeable change from the last time there was a photo posted of Adele. And since then, it's just been a kind of obsession from the media tracking her changing shape and weight and disseminating as much information they can get about how that change has occurred. And Adele has not publicized anything. She hasn't spoken about her weight loss publicly. She hasn't spoken about her diet publicly. It was actually her trainer, Camilla Goodis, who on Adele's behalf, I don't know whether with or without her consent, revealed some very specific information about what has been behind this change in her weight and appearance. And it's not great. And by not great, I mean could be interpreted as highly disordered. So Goodis, who apparently is a Pilates instructor and is known as the Brazilian body wizard, that's the extent of credentials that I'm aware of, revealed that she believes that 90% of Adele's weight loss can be attributed to her diet, even though exercise is a part of her regime or program. It is recommended apparently on the diet that Adele has been on that people exercise every day, problematic in its own way, but that 90% of her physical change is down to her diet. And then the really depressing information comes, which makes me want to order a pizza on Adele's behalf out of protest. But for the first week of the diet, it is expected that an individual will consume 1,000 calories a day. And the majority of that, if it could get any worse, is predominantly green juices. I hope I don't have to go into too much detail about why that's restrictive, why that's disordered. I think just the statement alone that a 3-year-old needs 1,300 calories a day to survive, but we're putting grown adults on 1,000 calories a day, expecting them to engage in movement, expecting them to human and just live in the world is concerning. The diet then does kick up to higher amounts of about 1,500 calories and then sort of relaxes in terms of calorie amounts as the diet progresses. But as a dietitian who reviewed the diet stated, it is still riddled with food rules. It is still riddled with restrictions. Accredited dietitian Melissa Meyer reviewed the diet and states, to start with, I'm not a fan of the extreme restriction at the start of phase 1. The idea that this phase detoxifies your body is just nonsense. Your organs are more than capable of doing just that. It also really grinds my gears when diets like this put some foods up on a pedestal as if they're a magic bullet. Truth is, all foods can and should be a part of a healthy diet. What's important is variety rather than consuming large amounts of a few select foods. Now, as much as there has been more recent coverage highlighting professionals such as these who are providing a little bit of balance around her diet and weight loss, the majority of the media coverage of her weight loss over the last 12 months has just been immediate celebration, which was not as problematic as the way that this information about her very restrictive, very low calorie diet was disseminated to the public, to readers to viewers without any filter, without any questioning of whether or not this is responsible information to share, or at the very least, responsible information to share without a disclaimer, without the media taking any interest in educating themselves about what disordered eating looks like, which when you look at the NEDC, the NEDA, Butterfly Foundation, they have a very, very clear list of what constitutes disordered eating. And this style of eating, restrictive eating, cutting out certain foods, cutting out certain food groups, absolutely fits the bill for disordered eating. There just seems to be this automatic button that we hit whenever, particularly a celebrity, goes through a physical change where weight loss is involved. It's this immediate celebration, and then what's the answer, and promoting and making available information that could put people at risk. There's just zero curiosity, it seems, still. In fact, until recently, the only real criticism I've seen over the last 12 months is of Adele and now skinny shaming her. So going from fat shaming to skinny shaming, it's like we just missed the point completely. I'm certainly not making this video to comment on her body at all. That is so not the point. And we just don't seem on a media level to be able to dig that much deeper. It's also disheartening that this trainer, who has now been pretty roundly criticized by her peers and other professionals, is riding the coattails of Adele's weight loss by unsustainable, potentially, dangerous means to publicize her own business, her own services, which only in turn is kind of legitimizing that this is a perfectly responsible way to advise people and guide people when it roundly isn't. Again, if we look at sort of those guidelines around disordered eating and some concerning eating patterns, it just seems a little opportunistic and is very concerning in that the media agreeing to run this without running it through any kind of critical lens really just legitimizes that this is normal. Let me reiterate, this is not a normal way to eat. Just because something is common does not mean it's normal. There are very real and potential physical health consequences to crash dieting in this way, to restricting in this way. And as we know all too well, there are very real and serious mental health consequences, even in the short term, what you put yourself through if you're even lucky enough not to then establish a disordered relationship with food or develop an eating disorder. The distress you put yourself through on these short-term crash diets or this very limited way of eating, whether it's brain fog or your inability to rationalize, your lack of energy. There was an article of a journalist, sort of like with the Beyonce homecoming diet, which we covered, who tried the diet and was exhausted, lost their social life, even though they only tried it for a couple of weeks, was incredibly emotionally fraught and sort of at the end of their tether. And I think that really demonstrates that no, you don't have to go to the extent of developing something as serious as an eating disorder for this style of eating to be detrimental, for it to be painful, for it to be something that isn't worth that message we're sent that this equals success and happiness and self-acceptance and confidence. I just wish the media would stop making that old weight loss equals celebration spiel, connection, whatever, but more than that, I just wish they'd take more care before disseminating and providing people with really, really, really damaging diet information. So the message, as always, is to fit yourself with a critical lens, is to remember, like I said, that common does not equal normal, to read these things, consume these things, and run them through that filter of what this is really about, through a common sense filter that if a 3-year-old needs 1,300 calories a day to survive, how realistic or reasonable is it to ask a full-grown human being to try to live their life on 1,000 calories, 1,500 calories, or a limited amount of access to a variety of foods? Don't do what the media is doing. Don't make that automatic link. Don't automatically absorb this information as if it's gospel or something that you should do or have to follow. You do not. Dig a little deeper. Seek out influencers who help you to question that and equip you with knowledge and information and research and statistics. which negate a lot of this stuff that we're fed. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm sure people have a ton of opinions about this. I'd be surprised if you didn't. Come and find me on Instagram and Twitter under What Mia Did Next. I'll see you guys very soon with another video. In the meantime, much love. Take care. Bye, guys.